Good evening, it's Right Blend. I'm back to make a new video after a really long break, and I know that a lot of you people have missed me, and to all the people who reached out to support me, to send kind messages during everything that's been going on that I've been sharing with you, because I feel like in a way I kind of owe it to you, because you've been so kind to me, so supportive. Anytime I'm at an event, people come up to me, they thank me for what I'm doing, which I honestly just think is speaking, and I love to talk. I talk way too much, and I'm never going to stop, and I'm always going to say what's on my mind. So thank you for following me and staying by me. And I know right now I just changed my name from Patriot Smoothie to Right Blend, but I'm sure the new name is going to settle in. We've got a new logo and everything. It's going to be a really exciting time moving forward to cover so many different things, but a lot of the old stuff too. And is it just me, or does it seem like Clown World is accelerating, like we're getting into something here? Things are getting worse every day, from the budget to the clown festivities on the streets to the it seems like we're almost experiencing a breakdown of social order. And in fact, we have, and we are. Things broke down quite a while ago. And from my perspective, the institutions that we used to think of as traditionally Canadian, as traditionally of certain values, have long ago been subverted. And we're now approaching this from a sort of outsider's perspective. We are the outsiders who think of the institutions as traditional, as whatever, but they've been captured. They're gone. They're long gone. And once you understand that, things make a lot more sense. But I tend to believe that there's still hope of recovering things, of getting things back, of doing the subversion from this side of things and getting things back to normal, where people are productive, where people are prosperous, and where there's a bright future for all Canadians. So thank you for listening to that opening tirade. Let's get right into the story today. I know it's been it's been a lot. So let's look at this right here. We've got that. So we've got Marty up north posting this. As you know, the government recently announced a new budget, their annual budget, which is, by the way, an automatic vote of confidence. It's one of the bills that have to go through the House every year, and if the bill does not pass, it removes the House of Commons confidence in a government, where they have to select a new leader, they have to do different things. But I don't think the NDP is going to back down from their supply agreement with the government of Canada, the Liberal Party of Canada, Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, all those great minds that think alike. And I think we're going to be stuck in this at least until the end of 2025, when the next federal election is scheduled. None of these people are going to run away from those golden pensions, which is they serve for their pension, not for the people. Understand that. So from Marty, he's breaking down the Liberal budget a little bit. So let's go over that, because, again, lots of stuff to cover. So the Liberal budget is pure fantasy. In the fall economic statement delivered last October, they forecasted a $40 billion deficit for the year 2024 to 2025. Since then, they have announced over $30 billion in new spending, but they are still forecasting a deficit of under $40 billion, red box. The Liberals have missed every forecast over the 9 years by 10 to 20. My prediction is that the last year's deficit was probably closer to $50 billion, and next year's deficit will come in at $80 to $90 billion when it's all said and done. And that's tremendous for a country of our size. Not that, we're growing at a rate faster than most countries in the world. We're taking in people. We're trying to solve the world's problems when we have so many problems here in Canada: homelessness, hopelessness, houselessness, people who can't access homes, who will never buy their homes. And by the way, isn't that supposed to be a conspiracy theory? The Red Star, Toronto Star, posting something very recently saying, you might never own a home, but here's why that's a good thing. And, whenever you mention Klaus Schwab and any of those people mentioning how they infiltrated the cabinets, it's a conspiracy theory. You're quoting their own words. You're quoting their relationships with our ministers and our prime minister and everything else, but it's a big conspiracy theory. They literally write the book on the Great Reset. It's a conspiracy theory. I can't handle Clown World sometimes, but you know what? We need to sit back. We need to laugh. We need to find this content. We need to get it out there and laugh at these fools and just rub it in their face, treat them like the clowns they are, and push forward relentlessly with our objective to recapture this country. That's what we need to do. So a huge deficit, as is, traditional with the Liberals, who say that budgets balance themselves. That kind of government, that kind of financial thinking never gets anywhere positive. They treat our money like it was worthless, was endless, and they consider budgets nothing more than lip service. Liberals are not serious about protecting our economy for future generations. So let's break down this chart a little bit. You can see some of the summaries here in the projections, budgetary balance projections. We can see -40 and -38.4, -38.3, -27.1, and then you can see everything in the budget balance here from budget 2024 by chapters. More affordable homes. The homes target that the government of Canada is making, where they want to build so many millions of homes by 2030 or something. I have some questions about that policy. First of all, do tents now count as homes? Because if they do, look on no further than your local street corner and you'll see tons of new Canadian homeowners setting up their brand new first purchase of a home. Maybe it's their second or third even. And that's what Canada is now. And it's very sad. Or is it these modular type campsites going up in some certain municipalities across the country? I don't know what their definition of homes is, but somebody actually broke down the numbers of the government's estimate. You know, they're saying we're going to unlock millions of homes, and somebody broke those numbers down. And with those numbers, the government would have to be building a home every second or something across the country. We are so far short of that. And also, when they say unlock homes, what does that mean? That's very particular language. They're not saying building homes. They're going to unlock them as if they're in a corner somewhere. They're in a safe, and Justin Trudeau is going to go over there with the pass key that he got, and he's going to open it, and all of a sudden everyone's going to have a home. That's very stupid and very manipulative language if you think about it. So again, let's look more into this chart. You can see the lowering everyday costs, lifting up every generation, just these sweet, no meaning words that they use, these sweet nothings that they're whispering in everybody's ear, trying to blow smoke in your eyes, farts up your nose, to tell you that everything's fine and dandy, the daisies are in bloom, when the country's on fire and things have never been more bleak for young people or people starting with little to nothing in this country. And we're taking in so many people abusing our system, our generosity to come here and to do those things. And it's just endless. We're seeing it on social media, that brazen attempt of a liquor store robbery the other week, where a couple of bandits from God knows where trying to come in and steal baskets full of stuff from the LCBO, stopped by a good Samaritan, good old Canadian coming in there, stopping things. And now watch, our justice system is going to punish that guy, and he's going to get years in prison, which is total nonsense, totally unacceptable. I know I'm going a little bit. I love to rant, folks. I do. I really do. We got a lot to get through, so we got to start moving along here. Just look at a fair future for Indigenous peoples. Why not for everybody? You know, safer, healthier communities. It's just what a nonsensical garbage propaganda piece, really. Tax fairness for every generation, just nonsense. And you know, you have those people going around talking about the carbon tax, how people get more than they they get more than they pay. When we broke it down, we broke down Sam Field's post. He's a small gas station owner in Nova Scotia, where he's paying he gets charged something like $3,000 whatever for his 5,000 something liters of fuel, and he's getting charged $2,000 of tax on that, which was something like 38%. I don't know. I'm going off the top of my head here, but a ridiculous amount of tax for that fuel, which means he has to charge somewhere around $1.70 something a liter to make it even. If he charged like $1.72 a liter, I believe it was, he would come up with a grand total profit of $2 if he sold the entire 5,000 so whatever liters of gas that he bought for his gas station. That's why things are so more expensive. When the price of fuel is that expensive, it costs more to ship things, costs more to work, costs more to do infrastructure project. Everything is more expensive. And that's what so many dullards don't understand, or even worse, they're manipulative and they're evil, and they do understand, but they know that you're stupid and they're trying to lie to you. Well, by you, I'm using the royal you, which means the people who are in the liberal camp, which... Is there any hope for them at this point? I mean, come on, let's be real and honest. Is there really any hope for them? And then also, I think the base price of fuel in that receipt that I posted, that also Sam Field posted a few days ago from his gas station again, I believe it was an April 17th fuel delivery. How much taxes are baked into the base $7 a liter cost, $0.07 per liter base cost? Like, how many taxes were already in that cost, from shipping it down, refining it, most of it refined in the United States, brought back to Canada? Very stupid. We should be building infrastructure here in Canada to refine our natural resources, to exploit and export them in a responsible way. We are one of the most responsible natural resource developers in the freaking world, yet we continuously shoot ourselves in the foot and bind our hands as everybody else gets ahead, and we fall further and further behind everyone. And we need to stop that. We need to be responsible, and we need to get those resources out of the ground. And Canada could be an enormously wealthy and prosperous nation, and it's time that we make it happen. So yeah, just one more look at this chart here, and you can see tax fairness. It's just Total nonsense. Moving on. Thank you, Marty, for this breakdown. More economic irresponsibility from the government of Canada, a government that believes the budgets balance themselves is never going to deliver a balanced budget, and that's just how it's going to be. So now we look at this, and we look at some of the comments. Maxime Copium says, how about the claim that they will build 4 million homes by 2031? Yeah, that's the ridiculous number the government threw out. The math squeaks out to about 2.5 homes per minute starting now. We're nowhere near that. We build a couple 100,000 homes a year. We're nowhere near the amount that we need to be at to do that. It's just such a fantasy, such a... The amount of disrespect they show Canadians by just talking like this is unbelievable. In any responsible government, the media would be ripping any responsible timeline. The media would be ripping these liars apart, but they're not. They're cheerleaders. That's their goal. That's their role. They're cheerleading for the government. They don't hold anyone accountable. And then Franco Terrazzano, sorry if I say that wrong, from the, I believe, yes, taxpayers, Canadian Taxpayers Federation, I believe, or taxpayers.com, says the Trudeau government is doubling the entire federal debt. Your kids and grandkids will be making payments on this debt their whole lives. This is not fairness for future generations. All it's doing is holding up the current status quo at the expense of Canada's future so that they don't lose that precious boomer vote. They don't lose that pressure later generation vote, the people who have theirs, and so who cares about you kind of thing. Those people with that mentality. Not that everybody in that situation has that mentality, but a hell of a lot do, and a hell of a lot them vote for Liberals. So that's what it's about. It's about appeasing that generation and making things sustain for them, because in any responsible economy, in any realistic economy, the housing market would crash from being so inflated, such a bubble, and things would balance out. But the government does everything it can to keep that from happening, to protect the people who vote for them. And so you also know that there is a Jagmeet has recently, obviously, they passed the dental care. We're going to talk about that later. Later last year, but now they're trying to pass pharmacare. So Jagmeet had this press conference where he had this person there, and let's watch it because it's something else. So this didn't go as planned. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh did a press conference about the need for a national pharmacare program in Canada, but the woman he brought actually has extended benefits. Oops. She doesn't need help with her diabetic supplies. Side note, Singh goes on to change the narrative for 5 minutes. So let's watch this video here.
A private benefits plan.
Actually, from the company I work for.
We just come right to the next here.
Start here.
Now, you're retired.
Yes.
How do you pay for your supplies now? And presumably you don't have a private benefits plan.
Actually, from the company I work for.
We just come right to the next here. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I do. I'm about one of the 4% from our company that I get coverage up until I die. And my husband, because I had more than 25 years, my husband also is covered as well. It's covered 80% for medical. And for the dental, it's just a dollar amount, which is $1,200 per person. And also for glasses is $200 every 2 years.
So she has pretty good benefits. And this is the person that Jagmeet was going to bring up to say, you know, how much she was struggling and explain to Canadians the dire need for a national pharmacare system because the dental care went so well. And somebody screen grabbed his face when she started talking before he moved her over to the mic. Classic. And then, so again, a follow-up post, sort of a damage control thing today from Jagmeet, where he said, this is alarming. Pierre Poilievre has filed a motion to block pharmacare. My goodness, how dare he be opposition government? How dare he oppose our supply coalition? A cruel move that will take away free access to life-saving medications for people and hurt millions of Canadians. I promise you he won't win this. I'm going to fight like hell for you. Well, it's funny because most Canadians are covered for most medications, especially life-saving medications, by their provincial health care insurance, which every Canadian gets. There are some things that aren't covered, but certainly things like heart medications and so on, those are covered by OHIP and the other provincial equivalents under the Healthcare Act and everything else that we already have in place in Canada. There are some things that aren't covered, but life-saving stuff tends to be pretty covered. So let's go into this. And then look at the comments. Ryan Garrettson, he's always pretty sharp on things, saying if you actually cared about what Canadians wanted, you would have called for a vote of non-confidence by now. And they won't. They're going to pass the budget in a couple of months when it goes to the floor for a vote. And they're going to pass anything else that comes up in the confidence arena, anything that could challenge the confidence of the government, which would force an election or some other extreme measure there to correct the situation. But they're not going to do that. They're going to sail until their golden pensions. That's all they care about, the golden pensions. Say Cabird or CA Bird says, when asked how it would be funded, you had no answer. There's nothing to block. It doesn't exist. It's a bunch of words on a piece of paper. By the way, your own MPs said your coalition agreement with Trudeau is solid till June 2025, 4 months after your pension is locked in. Funny that. So no more threats of polling support. It's all lies. And that's another thing. You know, whenever there's some sort of controversy, Jugmeat comes out and he's railing against the government. He says the government needs to do that, need to do this, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's right back to supporting the government. So everything he says is meaningless. All of his words are empty, and he's just a big con. That's all he is, really. He's a con, as in he's a con man. He's working towards his pension and nothing else. Bradshaw coming in saying, "Aren't you blocking Canadians from an election?" Well, he is actually. So let's just look. So you can see that the federal dental care benefit, it passed, I believe. This was posted October 27th. I believe it passed it October 26th. And this was going to be a big thing, right? Dental care. The NDP worked really hard on this. The Liberals put it through. It was a big win for the supply agreement between the two great parties working for their pensions. And then all of a sudden we find out that it's actually a disaster and really nobody's signing up for it. Let's look at a little glimpse of it from Nova Scotia. So Justin Trudeau's ego, always hilarious. Follow this account. Dentists in Nova Scotia have joined dentists in PEI and are boycotting my universal dental plan, saying it's poorly organized. What? A Liberal NDP bill or law being poorly organized and poorly implemented? Colored me shocked. That's why I'm invoking the Emergencies Act to freeze their bank accounts and trample them with horses so they can't spread anti-government bigotry. Everybody in Canada is free to do anything unless you criticize the government, in which case the Emergencies Act is coming out for you. And don't even think about having hot tubs or bounce houses or anything like that, because that's double Emergencies Act. You're going to get the double or triple Emergencies Act deal in that corner, and you're going to get the mounted police routing your crowd, or people beating you with batons, or being shot with 40 millimeter smoke grenades in close quarters. Whatever it is they can get away with, they'll do. So anybody but people protesting the government, though, are okay to do whatever they want. We'll get into that. So here's an image there. Thousands of Nova Scotians could benefit from federal dental plan if only they could find a dentist. You know, we would have gotten away with this. It would have been perfect if only we could actually find anyone who wanted to go along with it. Wow. And according to the Nova Scotia Dental Association, a nonprofit that represents more than 500 dentists in the province, nearly all of them have yet to do so. The association president, Dr. Julie Waterbury, said Tuesday that only 4 dentists in the province of Nova Scotia had signed up. She's not surprised by that number, saying that there are concerns with how the program is designed. So out of more than 500 dentists in the province of Nova Scotia, 4 sign up for the Liberal NDP dental agreement. So that was such a fantastic success. And now Jugmeat's on to the next thing. He's on to pharmacare. So pharmacare, you know, the dental care went over. You got 4 in 500, you know, 1 in 100 basically going for it. And now we're going to get the huge 1% success of the dental care, and we're going to bring that 1% success ratio over to our pharmacare package. And it's going to cost Canadians billions of dollars and be so inefficient that you wish nothing would be better. Nothing truly would be better. Now, let's move on to independent media, the cornerstone of our democracy in Canada, the last people who are trying to protect our democracy, who are actually out there on the street getting the truth, getting the real facts to you, and they're doing it at great personal risk. Some of them have been prosecuted, some of them have been beat up, and they're often harassed in public. So let's go on to one of my favorite independent reporters, Mocha Berzergan. I'm sorry, I can never say your name. I'm so sorry, Mocha. I know your work is amazing. So let's read this thread here. For those who care about independent media, you may want to read this. Yesterday, I was at the weekly Israel-Palestine protest at Calgary City Hall. Someone who appears to be suffering from Napoleon complex has agitated the crowd against me. But that's not the news. The news is policing approach taken by Calgary police. Shameful, by the way, shameful. What the high-ranking officer told me basically amounts to surrendering the City Hall and the rule of law into the hands of the demonstrators. The demonstrators were under the impression that because they have a permit, they could exclude anyone as they wish. In fact, having a permit to protest at City Hall does not grant you exclusive control over the area. The police could have attempted to explain them this fact and tell them to not obstruct me from doing my job, but they did not. And because the police did not address the obstructive behavior of the agitator earlier, eventually it evolved into an entire crowd surrounding me. That is absolutely unacceptable. This sets a poor precedent for the freedom of the press and gives the protesters the wrong impression that they could exclude reporters they don't like from public property by physically surrounding them and attempting to take their camera away. Let me give you some similar examples on how various police forces have handled similar situations. This is an insight you won't get anywhere else, as the number of field journalists who actively cover such events all across Canada is not greater than the number of fingers on one hand. Chris Dacey, Karima Saad, Mocha Berzagan, and there's a couple others maybe, but those are the top three in my head covering this, and they get all the harassment in the world hurled at them when they're out there, because these people know that they're doing wrong. They wouldn't be acting this way if they knew, if they were righteous, if they believed in their cause, if they knew they were on the right side, but they know their behavior is wrong. They know they're doing wrong. That's why they conceal their identities. That's why they're aggressive, and that's why they mob people, because they know that they're wrong and they're behaving badly. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit of this. Now, if you want to watch the full thing, go over to Mocha's Twitter channel. I'm not going to show the whole thing because this guy is a legend. You need to follow him. You need to watch his content. So go over there and give him the views he deserves. But you can see Mocha's here just recording this guy
why are you creating
doing this. This is totally illegal. You can't obstruct people's path. You can't get in their face with objects, umbrellas, signs, flags. But they get away with it because, you know, the ideology of the government agrees with them in the most part.
trouble? I don't like you.
I don't like you, so I'm going to block you. I'm going to physically follow you everywhere you go, and I'm going to throw things in your face, which is totally illegal, but I'm going to do that because I don't like you. You're telling the truth. You're getting that out there. You're showing my real side, and I don't like that. It's very unflattering to me.
One of these protests. You're here to make content. That's right. Is it illegal? Illegal to make content?
Go away.
Get out.
So, you know, that's what we're going to see. Thank you, Mocha, again, for your excellent coverage and your dedication to real journalism. So now, speaking of independent journalists, my goodness, Chris Dacey, my good friend, he's been out there. He's been getting the real news, the real truth every day. His camera is just the lens of the nation. And his recent footage from a anti-Israel protest here in Ottawa has gone mega viral. There's so many people who comment. That Trudeau has commented on it. Pierre Poilievre has commented on it. Everybody has commented on it, really. I mean, it's been shared it's been viewed millions of times. It's got views from everywhere. And let's watch the footage. So James, I can't say that. October 7th proves we're almost free. The crowd goes wild. Long live October 7th. Today, downtown Ottawa. No more euphemisms. They are openly promoting terrorism and violence. This is intolerable, and it is time for Canadians to speak up. So let's watch this, and you can see the typical banners.
To the sea, you reply with Palestine is almost free, because our resistance attacks are proof that we are almost free. October 7th is proof that we are almost free. Long live October 7th. Long live the resistance.
Long live October 7th, and therein is the crux of the issue.
Long live the Intifada.
But I want to point something else. Long live the Antifada. Long live the resistance. Long lived every form of resistance, he goes on to say. So he's celebrating armed resistance. He's celebrating this. And this is striking visual, isn't it? It looks like an army marching in front of the Canadian Parliament here. There we have the center block of the House of Commons, and we have this. Not a single Canadian flag in sight here, not a single one. And we even have these communist flags, and quite a few of them. 1, 2, 3. These communist flags, which I don't know what that has to do with Palestine. And then you see the hammer and sickle right there. It's just disgusting in front of our House of Commons in Canada. So many Canadians laid down their lives for liberty and justice in this country, and these people spit on their graves and spit on everything that's been built. It's disgraceful. Look at this. and they're marching right in front of our House of Commons. But this is okay. This is okay. People with a bounce house or a hot tub or playing street hockey or having community and giving people free food, feeding the homeless, that's a disgrace. That's a national emergency. That requires the greatest public order enforcement in Canadian history. But this is fine. This is fine and dandy and fantastic. Look at this visual. That's the thing that strikes me, the visual of them across the House of Commons. Amazing work, as always, by Chris Stacey. Now let's expand on this. Pierre Poilievre commenting, I condemn these pro-genocide, anti-Semitic chants. We stand with Jews in Canada and around the world against these malicious words and deeds. Got a huge amount of traffic and likes, as it usually does. Justin Trudeau being forced to comment, saying, there's a difference between peaceful protest and hateful intimidation. It is unconscionable to glorify the anti-Semitic violence and murder perpetrated by Hamas on October 7th. This rhetoric has no place in Canada, none. So keep in mind that Trudeau is forced to comment, and now it's up to Chrystia Freeland. So Trudeau is the Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland's the Deputy PM, and somehow the Minister of Finance. And then, so here's Chrystia Freeland as part of a government which has put forward a bill that, if passed, could put you under house arrest for things you might say in the future. Asked about chants and cheers for Long Live October 7th, and Freeland says she can't comment. This is embarrassing. There is no way in hell that she did not know about this with the amount of viral coverage it received, even being commented on by her Prime Minister, by Justin Trudeau. Unreal.
Over the weekend, protesters in Ottawa were heard chanting, among other things, Long live October 7th, and October 7th is proof that we are almost free. Is this hate speech?
She is so uncomfortable right now because she really does not answer this freaking question.
I wasn't in Ottawa over the weekend, and I'm not aware of those specific reports.
So she's not aware of those reports, yet the Prime Minister of Canada, her boss, Justin Trudeau, commented directly on them. And she wasn't in Ottawa, so she can't comment on something. So does this mean that she can't comment on anything that she was not directly there for? Because if it does, fantastic. We're going to hear her a lot less in the future. That's what we need.
And so it would be just wrong of me to comment.
It would be wrong of me to comment on something that I know will isolate a large amount of my voter bloc and that will put my government in a precarious position, even though the Justin Trudeau already did that. But he's kind of on his way out anyways, and I might be the next person in line, so who knows? I'm not going to comment on this. It would be inappropriate, and it would be harmful to my brand and to the brand of my party.
That I am not specifically aware of.
This is a total lie. The fact that she can lie like that with impunity and such comfort and not be challenged is just ridiculous. We have no responsible so-called national media in this country. They're just a bunch of parrots.
What I will say is today is a time in Canada when anti-Semitism and Islamophobia are on the rise. When we have there are a lot of Canadians who are not feeling safe.
Deflect, deflect, deflect. Shameful behavior. Any responsible media, any real media would have held her accountable for those lies and for that weak answer, but no, we just go on and pretend like it's fine. Yeah, that's Canada for you. All right, now, speaking of Chris Stacey, let's give him the ending here because he's been on fire. He's been capturing the truth left, right, and center. So here's a video from the other day in downtown Ottawa, and it speaks for itself. Stacey Media says, only government-sanctioned propaganda is allowed. The same government that violently pushed out truckers is fine with their anti-plastic propaganda truck parked on Wellington Street doing photo shoots. Johnny Rowe handled it, the voice of Ottawa. That guy's a master on the megaphone.
A highway with a vehicle-based demonstration is not allowed on Wellington Street.
No, it's not. The Ottawa police made that very clear.
Or have any kind of vehicle-based demonstration inside the city limits. The propaganda truck seems to be able to wander free through the city.
The propaganda truck seems to be able to wander free. Also note, it's blocking a bike lane, people. This is a bike lane here. That is the mortal crime of this. It's that it is blocking a bike lane. How dare you block a bike lane?
Constructed without being hassled. Yeah, we're going to have an $8,000 a day propaganda truck drive around and tell us not to use plastic. You're going to have a paper lid on your coffee, and that's just the way you're going to get it, and you're going to have nothing to say about it. But if you show up and complain about it, they're going to put you at 2244 Ennis Road.
The holiday
in a vehicle-based demonstration in the city.
And he just goes on and on. But what a master of the microphone, the master of the megaphone, Johnny Rowe, the voice of Ottawa. You'll be familiar with him if you've watched any protest in Ottawa before. The guy is a great guy. And Dacey getting the truth out there. His camera captures everything. And that's why they hate him so much, because he's so good at what he does. And that little propaganda truck can sit there in front of the House of Commons, in front of it, park there. You don't know what's in the back of that truck. Could be a security threat, but it's allowed to park directly in front of the House of Commons, a cube van with this pro-government messaging on it, probably paid for by the government, and obstruct a bicycle lane. How dare they? My goodness. But you know what? It's rules for thee and not for me. And that's the, you know, in a communist revolution, that's one of the fundamental truths, is that there's rules for thee, but not for me. And everything is flipped on its side. And you try to wrap your head around it and apply logic, you'll never will, because it's not meant to be logical. It's meant to be destructive and propaganda. So now back again, Earth Day was the other day, and Chris was on top of that. PM Justin Trudeau starts Earth Day by rolling up to the office with a bunch of gas-guzzling SUVs. Thumbs up if you're a hypocrite. Let's watch.
Today is Earth Day, and look. Here comes Justin Trudeau heading to the office. Justin Trudeau rolling up. The perfect way to celebrate
the most loved Canadian Prime Minister in history needs, you know, this 7-vehicle, whatever it is, motorcade of these huge suburban SUVs and these tactical vehicles behind them. Just a ridiculous waste of time and money, man. You know what would be easier than having massive motorcades? It would be doing your job properly and representing Canadians and listening to Canadians when they tell you that you're hurting them and that they're struggling.
Birthday,
call
rolling up to the office.
Call an election
with a bunch of gas-guzzling SUVs.
Look at all the little head nods they give each other. Yep. Step 2, step 3.
Thumbs
step
up
4.
if you're a hypocrite. Oh, and I guess it's Casual Monday.
Oh,
hypocrite. Thumbs up if you're a hypocrite. Oh, and I guess it's Casual Monday. Nice.
Nice. Good job, Chris. And then finally, Chris caught him again, I guess, earlier in the day. Let's look at the light. Yeah. Or maybe at the same, I don't know if it's the exact same time, but he asked him about his the thing he commented on. Look at this.
Justin Trudeau rolling up.
Thank you.
Mr. Trudeau, could we get a comment about the hate rally here on the weekend? You made a statement. Could we get a comment? These hate rallies are escalating. After the video of the latest hate rally here in the streets of Ottawa, right here on Wellington Street, went completely viral this weekend. We saw the group setting off smoke grenades. There were calls celebrating the October 7th attacks on Israel, saying long live October 7th, long live the Intifada. I asked Justin Trudeau for a statement. He did put a statement out on X yesterday, so we did get a response. No response from him in person today. We'll see.
He'll never comment in an environment in which he can't control. It's got to be curated. It's got to be on Twitter by his staffers. It's got to be in a place with scripted questions. Anytime he's faced with real pressure, he just completely fumbles, breaks down, and can't even string a sentence together. Not like he can any other time either. But true, you know, it's funny because Dacey started his life documenting the convoy, his recent life as documenting the convoy, watching Trudeau crack down with the most brutal public and largest public enforcement effort ever seen in Canada. And then we've come to this where Chris records this hugely viral video and Justin Trudeau himself comments on it. So Chris has gone from one end to the other and back again, where Trudeau is now commenting on Chris Dacey's production because he can't ignore it. Good job, Chris. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope to be back soon to talk to you again. Lots of stuff covered today. Thank you so much for sticking around. See you next time.